Hello everyone. In today's video, we're going to be talking about something that's very important to me, and that is the bachelors in these farming sims. In today's video, I'm going to be pitting Story of Seasons against Harvest Moon. And in today's video, we're going to be focusing just on the character designs of the bachelors, because me personally, I care a lot about this topic. In today's video, we're going to be ranking these 6 games based on how good their bachelor designs are. So I've kind of hinted in a lot of other videos about how I feel about the bachelors in different games, but I've never actually pitted the games against each other in this topic. So in today's video, we're just going to go through all 6 of these different games, look at their bachelors, and then I'm going to give them a ranking. Today's video might be a little bit controversial, but these are my opinions. So yeah, let's jump right into it. And we're going to kind of go in chronological order, and I believe the first game to be released was Light of Hope. In Harvest Moon, Light of Hope, we have a wide range of bachelors, and these 3 are my personal favorites. Yeah, I really like that they let you marry not 1, but 2 different wizards. I really like these games when they have kind of non-conventional marriage candidates, and yeah, I just think that it's really cool that you can marry 2 different wizards, and of course, this guy on the left, he's also really cool, so I'm going to be putting A Light of Hope in the B category. None of the bachelors stand out as like super good, but on the whole, I would say most of them are pretty good. So yeah, Light of Hope, no complaints here, putting them right in B tier. Next, we're going to Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town, and these are my 3 favorite bachelors from Friends of Mineral Town. Now, this one, it's actually pretty hard for me to choose only 3 bachelors that I like. Of all of these games, I would say Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town, it has a lot of really strong bachelors. However, I do have the slight complaint that, I mean, even if you look at these 3, right here, my 3 favorites, they're all a little bit too similar. As I'll talk about more in some of the other games, I prefer when they have like a wider range of ages and body shapes, whereas in Friends of Mineral Town, yeah, a lot of the characters, they look very similar to each other. That being said, this game does have Gray, who is one of my all-time favorites, so yeah, I'm putting it straight into S tier. Next up, we have Harvest Moon 1 World, and Harvest Moon 1 World, bam, it's another very strong contender for Best Bachelors. Now, in this game, it's not quite as hard for me to choose my top 3, but my top 3 in this game, they're all really strong. Harvest Moon 1 World has some really good bachelors. And one thing that I really like about this game is that there's a wide variety of bachelors. If you look at these 3 right here, my 3 favorites, you can very clearly tell them apart. They all have very different attires, they all have very different body shapes, and they all have different hair colors. My favorite, Brayden on the left here, he also has some facial hair, and he looks a little bit older than a lot of the other bachelors. So, you know, for me, I really like it when they have older marriage candidates, so he gets points for that, and he gets points for having a mustache. I really like it when guys in real life and in video games, when they have like a soul patch, or they have long sideburns and a bit of facial hair. So yeah, Brayden gets top marks in my book. So yeah, this might be a surprise to some of you guys, but I'm putting One World right up next to Friends of Mineral Town. It's going in S tier. Next up, we have Story of Seasons, Pioneers of Olive Town, and again, those last 3 guys, you can see 3 different body shapes, but then in Pioneers of Olive Town, pretty much everybody has the same body shape. There also isn't quite as much variance in terms of their attire and just their style in general. These 3 here, they are my favorites, but that being said, like, they're all still a little bit on the bland side of things. I wish they'd spent a little bit more time giving them a little bit more personality, and especially making some of the characters stand out a little bit more from each other. Like Damien and Jack, they look a little bit too similar. As soon as I first saw these 2, I thought that they should look more different from each other, but hey, what are you gonna do? Pioneers of Olive Town, you're going straight into the C category. I'm giving them a C because They're not awful, but they're not really standout either, so I think they fit perfectly in C tier. I actually don't dislike the bachelors in this game that much, but I feel like all of them, they could have used a little bit more work. Yeah, the designs, a little bit too bland. I would have liked to have seen a bit more variety. Next up, we have the most recently released title, and that is A Wonderful Life. Now, A Wonderful Life, right out the gate, has one thing going against it, and that is that there's only 4 bachelors in this game, which is the fewest of any of these games that we've talked about. Usually, a bare minimum is 5, but in A Wonderful Life, we only get 4. Of these 4, of course, I'm not going to put Rock in my top 3, so I have no choice but to have Gustafa, Matthew, and Gordy. Now, these 3 designs, I don't know. I think they're all okay. I personally like Matthew quite a bit, and also Gordy. I like their styles. Gustafa, in the game, he grew on me, but his design, I'm not really the hugest fan of it. But yeah, as we said, there's only 4 bachelors in this game, so he's got to be in the top 3. So yeah, it kind of pains me to do this, but I'm gonna have to put this game in D tier. Number 1, obviously, as I've said, because there's only 4 bachelors in the game, and number 2 is because I really think they could have done something more with these bachelors. I was really hoping that they would, you know, have some DLC to at least have a 5th bachelor to give us a little bit more variety, but yeah, they did not. So A Wonderful Life, I really like the game, but in terms of its bachelors, yeah, it's kind of on the weak side of things. Now, the last game on this list is the Winds of Anthos, and the Winds of Anthos, it's not out yet, it's coming out next month, but we do have all of the bachelors already announced, so I'm going to go ahead and add it to this list, since we're just basing them on the character designs and not really their heart scenes and things like that. So, with the Winds of Anthos, I had really high expectations, and I guess I would say maybe it met my expectations. It definitely didn't exceed them. I do really like these 3 right here. The guy with purple hair, we don't know his name yet, but the other 2 are Neil and Wesley. I really like Neil and Wesley. They both have kind of more masculine looking appearances, and I really like Neil's hairstyle. Actually, all 3 of these characters, if you look at their hairstyles, they all look really unique, which is something that I kind of am hoping that the new Story of Seasons games will also kind of implement, is, you know, making sure that the characters look different enough from each other. And I think the Winds of Anthos does that really well. But yeah, I would have liked to seen just a little bit more variety. It would have been nice to have some facial hair come back. Yeah, of all of these games, pretty much the only one that has facial hair is One World. Not quite sure why that is. Don't know why they didn't give any of these new guys any type of facial hair, but yeah, what can you do? So, it shouldn't come as a surprise to you that I'm going to put the Winds of Anthos in the A category. I think that the bachelors are still strong, but they're not quite as strong as the bachelors in One World. So my final list ends up looking like this: One World and Friends of Mineral Town, S tier. I really like the bachelors in these 2 games, and yeah, if you're looking for a farming sim and you want good bachelors, I would recommend either of these games to you. The Winds of Anthos is not out yet, but they're pretty good in that game as well. Light of Hope, not the greatest game, however, it does have some decent bachelors, so it's in B tier. Pioneers of Olive Town, again, I like the gameplay mechanics, but the bachelor designs are really lacking. And then A Wonderful Life, yeah, I hate to do this to A Wonderful Life, but I've had to put it in D tier because, yeah, there's only 4 bachelors in the game, and most of them I feel like they could have done a little bit better. Please let me know in the comments down below, how would you rank these 6 games? Even if you haven't played the game, you know, you can just see the character designs for the characters in these games, so it should be easy for you to rank these games as well. Don't forget to hit that like button, and I'll see you guys next time.